everyone! Let's go on an adventure!
I planned the perfect sick day. No school, no teachers, no stress. I had everything figured out. But when my mother walked back through that front door at 8 in the morning, I realized I had made the biggest _ mistake of my entire life. So let me take you back. It was a Tuesday morning, and I'm talking about one of those Tuesday mornings where the sun is already hitting different through the curtains, the birds are outside doing their thing, and every single part of your body is telling you that today is not the day to get up and sit in a classroom for 7 hours straight. You know that feeling. You wake up, and before your eyes even fully open, your brain is already doing the math. How many days have I been in school this week? How many tests do I have today? And most importantly, how bad do I actually want to be here right now? And on this particular Tuesday, the answer was 0. Absolutely 0. I did not want to be anywhere near that school. Not the hallways, not the classroom, not the cafeteria, not even the front gate. Nothing. I wanted to be home, in my bed, under my covers, watching television and eating whatever I could find in the kitchen. That was the dream. And I made up my mind before my feet even touched the floor that today I was going to make that dream a reality. Now the plan was simple. And I mean simple in the way that only a 14-year-old who thinks he is the smartest person alive can come up with a plan. The night before I had already started laying the groundwork. I went to bed a little earlier than usual, which in itself should have been a red flag for anybody paying attention, because everybody in that house knew that I did not go to bed early. Ever. My mother would be up watching her shows, and I would be somewhere in the background pretending to be asleep while actually just staring at the ceiling. But that night, I went to bed at 9 in the evening, like a man with a mission, because I needed to make sure I looked tired enough in the morning. I needed the full performance ready by 6:30, and the performance started with the face. See, the thing about faking sick in Jamaica, or anywhere really, is that you cannot just wake up and say you feel sick. That is amateur hour. Anybody can say they feel sick. Your mother has heard that line since before you could tie your shoes, and she is a built-in detector for that exact sentence. The moment those words leave your mouth, she is already looking at you sideways. So you have to do it different. You have to build it. You have to plant the seed the night before and let it grow overnight so that by the morning it feels real. So what I did was simple. Around 8:30 the night before, I walked out of my room, went to the kitchen where my mother was sitting, and I said to her very casually, very naturally, like it was nothing, that I had a little headache. Not a big headache, not a migraine, just a little headache. And I rubbed the side of my head real slow, and then I went back to my room without another word. Planted. Done. Seed in the ground. All I had to do now was wait for morning. 6:30 comes, and my mother knocks on my door the way she always does. 3 quick knocks, and then she opens it before you can even answer. Standard mother behavior. She tells me to get up, get ready, breakfast is almost done. And this is where the performance begins. I did not jump up. I did not say okay. I did not even move fast. I roll over slow, like a man carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders, and I let out this groan. Not too dramatic. Not like I am dying. Just enough. The kind of groan that says something is not right, but I'm trying to push through it. My mother stops. She looks at me, and I can feel her eyes on the back of my head, even though I am facing the wall. She asks me if I am okay, and I wait 2 full seconds before I answer, because 2 seconds is exactly how long a genuinely sick person needs to process a question. I tell her my stomach is not right, and my head is still hurting from last night. She comes over, puts her hand on my forehead the way mothers do, and I had actually stayed under the covers all night to make sure my body temperature was at least a little warm. She does not say anything for a moment, and in that moment, I am completely calm on the outside and absolutely losing my mind on the inside, because this is the moment. This is where the whole plan either works or falls completely apart. She tells me to stay in bed, and she will check on me before she leaves. I say okay in the weakest voice I can manage without overdoing it. She leaves the room. I wait until I hear her footsteps go back down the hall, and then I allow myself the smallest smile, just the corner of my mouth, because it is working. The plan is working. She bought it. My mother, the woman who has known me my entire life, The woman who can tell when I'm lying from across a room just put her hand on my forehead and believed every single word out of my mouth. I am a genius. A certified 14-year-old genius. The next 30 minutes are the slowest of my life. I can hear her moving around the house, getting dressed, making breakfast, getting my little brother Marcus ready for school. Marcus is 9, and Marcus is the most annoying 9-year-old on the face of this earth because Marcus does not understand the concept of keeping his mouth shut. So when Marcus comes to my room and opens the door and sees me lying there, the first thing out of his mouth is a big loud, "Why are you still in bed?" And I give him the look. Not a nice look. The look. The look that says, if you say another word, I will make the rest of your childhood very difficult. Marcus looks at me for about 3 seconds, decides he does not want whatever I am offering, and leaves. Good. Smart kid when he needs to be. My mother comes back one more time before she leaves. She brings me a glass of water and 2 tablets for the headache. She tells me to drink plenty of water and that she will call to check on me on her lunch break. She tells me not to eat anything too heavy, just crackers and maybe some soup later if I feel up to it. She says if I'm not better by afternoon, she is taking me to see the doctor. I nod. I look miserable. I thank her in my weak voice. She kisses my forehead, which catches me off guard because now I feel genuinely a little bad about the whole situation, but not bad enough to stop. She tells Marcus to leave me alone and let me rest. And then I hear the front door. Open, close, lock, and then nothing. Silence. Beautiful, perfect, completely empty silence. I wait. This is the most important part that most people skip. You do not get up right away. You wait at least 10 minutes because sometimes mothers forget something. A phone, a bag, keys they thought were in their purse, but are actually on the kitchen counter. You give it 10 minutes minimum. I get 15 just to be safe. 15 minutes of lying there staring at the ceiling, counting down, making sure the coast is absolutely clear. And then at exactly 7:45 in the morning, I get out of bed like a man who has never felt better in his entire life. Headache? Gone. Stomach? Perfect. Energy? Through the roof. I go to the kitchen. I make myself a proper breakfast because crackers are for actually sick people and I'm not actually sick. I make eggs. I make toast. I pour myself a big glass of juice. I sit at the kitchen table like the king of the house, and I eat my breakfast in complete peace. No school, no uniform, no teacher standing at the front of the room talking about things I do not care about. Just me, my eggs, and the beautiful freedom of a Tuesday morning with nowhere to be. After breakfast, I go back to my room and I set myself up properly. Television on, pillow behind my back, snacks within reach, because I had hidden a bag of chips in my room the night before specifically for this occasion. I even had a plan for what I was going to watch. I had been behind on a show for 2 weeks because school kept getting in the way, and today was the day I was going to catch up. Everything was perfect. Everything was exactly how I imagined it. This was the greatest sick day in the history of sick days, and I had not even been awake for 2 hours yet. And then I heard the key in the front door. Now, when I say my heart stopped, I am not being dramatic. I'm telling you that every single function in my body shut down simultaneously. My ears heard that key go into that lock, and my brain sent one message to every organ in my body, and that message was absolute panic. Because it is 8 in the morning. My mother should be at work. My mother should be 20 minutes away from the house, sitting at her desk, drinking her morning coffee. My mother should not be putting a key in that front door at 8 in the morning on a Tuesday. And yet, there it is. Key, lock, click, door opening. I move faster than I have ever moved in my life. Television off, chips under the pillow, myself horizontal under the covers in approximately 4 seconds flat. I close my eyes and I slow my breathing and I go completely limp because I need to look like a person who has been asleep this entire time and definitely has not been watching television and eating chips for the last 45 minutes. I hear her footsteps come through the front door. I hear her put her bag down. I hear her walk down the hall toward my room. The door opens. She stands there for a moment, and I can feel her standing there even though my eyes are closed. And then she says my name. She says it in that specific tone that mothers have, the tone that is not angry yet, but is standing right on the edge of angry, and the only thing stopping it from crossing over is whatever you say in the next 3 seconds. She says my name, and she says, "Why is the television warm?" And I want to disappear. I want the bed to open up underneath me and swallow me whole and deliver me somewhere, anywhere that is not this room, this bed, this moment. The television is warm because I was just watching it 30 seconds ago, and there is absolutely no explanation for a warm television that does not end with me being in serious trouble. I open my eyes. I look at her. She is standing in the doorway with her work bag still on her shoulder, which means she came back specifically to check on me and did not even make it fully into the house before she found evidence. She says it again. Why is the television warm? And I make the worst possible decision a person can make in that moment, which is to try to explain. I tell her maybe the sun was hitting it through the window. She looks at the window. The curtains are closed. There is no sun hitting anything in this room. I tell her maybe it was already warm from last night. She tells me it was not on last night because she turned everything off herself before she went to sleep. I have no more explanations. I'm out of explanations. The well is dry. Then she walks over to the pillow and she pulls it up and the entire bag of chips falls out onto the bed. And that is it. That is the moment. That is the image that ends the greatest fake sick day in history before it even properly began. A bag of chips sitting right there on the bed sheet, completely exposed, representing every lie I told that morning in one single devastating moment. She looks at the chips. She looks at me. I look at the chips. Nobody says anything for what feels like a very long time. She tells me to get up, get dressed, and get my uniform on because I have exactly 20 minutes to get ready before she drives me to school herself. She is not yelling. That is actually worse. The quiet voice is always worse because it means the consequences are being calculated somewhere behind those eyes, and I will not find out what they are until later, which means I get to spend the entire school day wondering exactly how bad it's going to be when I get home. She takes the chips. She leaves the room, and I sit there in my bed on a Tuesday morning that was supposed to be the greatest day of my life, putting on the uniform I spent all night figuring out how to avoid. She told me I had 5 minutes to use the bathroom, wash my face, and be standing by the front door in full uniform, or she was walking me into school in my pajamas. And the way she said it, completely flat, completely calm, told me she was not joking even a little bit. I have never put on a school uniform that fast in my life. I was brushing my teeth and buttoning my shirt at the same time. I forgot to iron the shirt. I did not care. I put on the wrinkled shirt, and I told myself that wrinkles were the least of my problems right now, and I was absolutely correct. She drove me to school in complete silence. Not one word the entire ride. I sat in the front seat, staring out the window, watching my perfect sick day disappear behind us as we got further and further from the house. Every street we turned down was another reminder of how badly I had failed. Marcus was in the back seat, trying not to laugh and doing a terrible job of it. I could see him in the side mirror with his hand over his mouth, looking out his window. Traitor. I got to school 12 minutes late, which meant I had to go to the office and get a late pass, which meant I had to stand in front of the vice principal and explain why I was late, which meant I had to stand there and say the words out loud that my mother drove me because I was not feeling well this morning. The vice principal looked at me. I looked at the vice principal. We both knew. When I got home that evening, my mother had already called my father and told him everything, and my father was sitting in the living room waiting for me with the specific kind of energy that only a father waiting to have a conversation can have. That conversation lasted 45 minutes. I was grounded for 2 weeks. No television, no going outside after school, extra chores every evening. And the worst part, the part that actually hurt more than all of it combined, was that my mother made me go to school the very next day, even though I woke up with what I'm almost completely certain was an actual real headache. She handed me the 2 tablets, looked me straight in the eyes, and said, "Drink plenty of water." And that is the thing about trying to be slick when you're 14. You think you have everything figured out. You think you have covered every angle, planned every detail, thought of every possible thing that could go wrong. But there's always something. Always one thing you did not think about. For me, it was a warm television and a bag of chips. 2 things. I did not think about 2 things, and they brought the whole operation crashing down in under 60 seconds. The plan was perfect right up until it was not. And I think about that morning sometimes, not because I'm embarrassed, well, maybe a little because I'm embarrassed, but because it was the day I learned that no matter how good you think your plan is, life has a way of walking back through that front door at exactly the wrong moment. If you made it to the end of this video, first of all, big respect, because you just sat through the most painful Tuesday morning of my entire life, and I appreciate you for that. If this hit different, if you had your own version of this moment growing up, drop it in the comments, because I know for a fact I'm not the only one who has been caught by a warm television. And if you're new here, welcome, subscribe, because there's a whole lot more where this came from. Every single video on this channel is a real story. No filters, no made-up drama, just life exactly how it happened. Hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and come back for the next one, because trust me, it only gets worse from here.